Hello all, sorry about that. We're having a couple of technical difficulties, so I am going to try and let's have a look. I need to go live with one of them. I'm just waiting for Carol to come on that she's waving. Hello, Pearl and Peach, thank you again. Thanks everybody for bearing with us. Right, let me see if I can, right. I'm trying to add Carol under the name of Beating It, which I always look. Oh, it says we're connected.
What is it you? Hi. I can relax now. My stress levels went way high there, way too high.
I think they're a very forgiving crowd.
Oh, dear me. Whew, need another cup of coffee.
Oh, thank you. We did it. Phil and Pete told me that I was sideways on initially anyway, Carol, so don't worry about it. It wasn't just you getting things mixed up. How are you today?
I'm not too bad. I've been out for my morning run, so I've had my stretch of the legs, so everything is good.
When you come to do workshops and you stay at the local hotel and run back to the hotel.
Oh, and I know people think I'm daft. I can't help it. It keeps me sane.
Go every day.
Yeah, most days I try and do maybe 3-4 times a week. And Sunday's my long run, so I've set myself up a challenge of training for a half marathon. Right. Even though there probably won't be any half marathons going on this year.
You might do it around the garden.
I know. I would say that you're kind of breaking up a wee bit. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you brilliantly. Is that any better? My phone, I have the oldest phone in the world, and sometimes the sound isn't great.
Well, I'm in the back bedroom in an old Victorian tenement, and the Wi-Fi's in the other room. So I was just checking it wasn't me, and signals and sort of stuff can be a bit dodgy here.
Yeah, you're in Glasgow.
Yes, I am.
Are you from Glasgow?
No, I'm from Aberdeen originally. When I graduated art school, I moved down to Ayrshire. And Ayrshire is a beautiful, wonderful place, but sort of Glasgow was calling me, so I've been here probably for about 20 years now. Yeah. Oh gosh, that long.
And does Glasgow inspire you?
It does. It's a beautiful city. It's one of those things. I think a lot of people gravitate towards Edinburgh, but Glasgow, it gets under your skin. It's just a great city. It really is.
Well, I was lucky enough to spend quite a bit of time in Glasgow in my old life because I used to work for the Daily Record. So was lucky enough to go up there quite a lot, and it's a fabulous city. Some of the architecture and so on there, the buildings are incredible.
That's one good thing about going out and doing early morning runs, because it's quieter in the centre of town than it is in the local park. And when you look up the architecture, I mean, Charles Rennie Mackintosh lived in the street just around the corner from me. Wow. There's Alexander Drake Thompson. He, a fantastic architect who inspired Frank Lloyd Wright. His house that he built for himself is just around the corner from me as well. So I like going and having a nosy and waving to them and going, hello.
So what local yarn shops have you got in Glasgow then? Tell us.
We have a couple. There is the Golden Thimble that's along the road from me. There's another one called the Wool Haven, which is a 5-minute walk from me as well. So they're quite local. We've got the Yarn Cake over at the West End. Yeah. But it's one of those things. I live in the south side of the city, and the West End, and you think, oh gosh, have I got to cross that river? But because when I'm out and about doing workshops, I tend to pick my yarn up when I'm out and about doing my workshops and sort of stuff. So I get the best of both worlds.
When I was introducing you, I was trying to remember how many years have you done workshops at Black Sheep? And I
think it might be about 8 years.
You know,
I think it. Yeah. No, it's been a long time, but I always come back singing your praises. You're just so friendly, just really nice to go to. Most people in the yarn industry I've found anyway are really nice and friendly. But yeah, I like coming down to visit you guys.
No, we're very, very lucky, like you said, and I think to have customers that are so passionate about what you sell as well makes it such a. And you're unusual in tutors that you do knitting and crochet.
Yeah. I don't know. I've been working on a few patterns, and I've got a couple up on Ravelry. I've got one that I'm just about to launch. I'm trying to do a how-to video to go along with it, which is proving, well, a bit of a learning curve, shall we say, which is why it's not out there. But I just think a stitch is a stitch. An increase is an increase, decrease, and you've just got your brain has to just sort of jump between the two of them. So yeah,
Got any samples near you?
I do. I went and I sort of grabbed a heap of stuff after, because I knew we were going to be chatting. So, right, things to show. So I'm going to twirl around, and like yourself, I have got mess at either side of me. So this one view here, it's clean. But this, I don't know if you can. This is the one. It's called Spring Green. And I don't know if Barbara's watching. Hello, Barbara, if you are. But Barbara pattern tested this for me. Can you see that okay?
Oh, so our Barbara did?
Yeah, no, it's Barbara 100, I think, on Instagram. She's great. Known Barbara for years, and yeah, she very kindly tested the pattern for me.
That's
so
beautiful.
So we've got garter stitch, and then we sort of jump onto the sort of crochet sort of section. But I like to make things difficult for myself because you've got to increase off to the right on one side. So I'm just peeking in behind my crochet net. And then when you decrease off in the other direction. So yeah, that's what I've been working on, as I say, and trying to do the. Oh, I should have shown you the smaller bit. Here we go. There we go. That's sort of smaller, so you can sort of see that a bit better. So that's yes.
You pick up the crochet from the garter stitch.
So you've got all your live stitches on the knitting needle.
Yeah.
In fact, here we go. So can you see that we've got your garter stitch?
Yeah.
And then you use your hook. I'm trying to find where my camera is. Here we are.
Yeah,
you use the hook, and you basically work your double crochets along the live stitches on there. So and then you go on your crochet, and then when you finish off, you pick your stitches up along the top of the double crochet stitches. So yeah, it's good fun.
It's fascinating, incredible to see what you can create from it in blending those two very different looks.
I think I've done a few when we've worked in stocking stitch, but because stocking stitch wants to curl, it's a bit more tricky to actually try and pick the stitches up. So garter stitch seems to match a bit better with crochet. But the other thing I've got an idea forming in my head doing Faroe Isle, and then taking the Faroe Isle pattern and turning that pattern into the crochet section. I haven't quite figured it out yet, but it's mulling about in my brain somewhere.
That sounds amazing. Wow. So how's lockdown affecting your creativity?
I was really good the first few weeks. I sort of set myself a little timetable. I should have been over in France, well, last week doing a knitting holiday, but unfortunately, it's not going to happen. So the lovely lady, sort of Sue Cullingham, who runs the sort of France trips, we've been doing a knit along. We'll be calling it a stitch along. So I've done all the crochet squares. Sue's done all the knitted squares, and we're using our inspiration from the trip. There we go. This one's already been published. I can show you this one. There we go.
Oh,
so that's the spike stitch.
Do you know what I'm seeing spike stitch about at the moment?
Sorry?
I know I've seen a lot of spike stitch about at the moment. Seems really popular. It's so effective.
I think if you're new to crochet and you can do a double crochet, then spike stitch is a great way of adding adding pattern into it, and it's not too tricky, as you say, and you can do a lot with it. Have you seen there's one where you actually cross the stitches over, so you make a checkerboard effect and all sorts? Yes. No, it's good fun. And then we've got this was based on a garden, and I love this one, this sort of stitch. I think Raven have got a pattern, a scarf, And it's trebles and chains and then double crochets. Sorry, I flap my arms about way too much.
I do love that stitch, I really do. So after France, what was planned for after France? Are you missing any other trips abroad?
Yeah, I should have been going back over to the Baltic cities with Stitchtopia with Arena Travel. I should have been that was July. I should have been back over to Latvia, Estonia, and oh gosh, I think it was 3 different places we were going to, but I went there just before Christmas. So I picked up yarn, and I haven't sewn the ends in yet, guys.
Oh.
So this, I posted, if I go further back, nope, I'm wearing it.
Good.
It's short row shaping just under the bust. I hadn't tried that before, so I'm quite pleased with it. So I'm going to... Sorry?
Is that one of your designs?
It is, yes. Well, I took it from a much-loved favourite jumper that I've worn to death. It's a shop-bought one. It's not a knitted one. So this is it was my favourite jumper, and I practically lived in it. But it's well past its best now. So I took the pattern, the shape from that, and the Faroe Island design. It was from a pair of gloves that I'd knitted before Christmas. So I thought, ooh, and this is the yarn.
Oh, that's nice. I bet that smells nice as well.
Why not? I love this. Oh, see, just wool. Whoa.
One of the problems we keep talking about, the shop is closed at the moment, and we keep talking about reopening the shop. And one of the problems with reopening the shop is it is such a tactile product, and I'm the worst. I pick it up and I smell it and I put it to my cheek.
Yes.
It's sort of getting across to people. We can't do that at the moment.
No. You know what? I hadn't even thought about that. You know, just actually physically sort of touching the yarn, because it's been quite amusing going to the supermarket and then coming back and you think, oh, I've got a dozen eggs. You know, sort of taking the eggs and then washing them and then putting them in another container, and you think, oh my goodness, something disastrous is going to happen. So I can't even imagine to do that.
Holders, it's everything, because it's such a tactile. You know, you feel the knitting needles. If you're going to buy a new set of knitting needles, you want to feel them before you take them home, because it's just tactile, isn't it? So yeah, it's giving us some interesting dilemmas.
And it's the other thing with workshops as well, because I have been sort of joking. You'd be like, what? So are we going to have to wear, you know, sort of personal protective? And I'm such a touchy-feely person anyway. Like, oh goodness, how am I going to do this? How are we going to do this?
Yeah, it's just a whole new world opening up before us, isn't it? And it's the touch and so on that you miss so much.
Yeah.
I was going to a local shop the other day, and my best friend, who was a bridesmaid at my wedding, walked out of the shop as I was about to walk in, and we just sort of stood and looked at each other. And it was like,
yeah,
oh, we can't even touch each other.
I know.
It was like worse than not seeing her.
Because I've been out and about doing my running and sort of bumping into sort of friends as we're sort of doing that, and you're sort of shouting at one another across the road. And you think, I just want to give you a cuddle. I know.
Yeah. Oh, I've just the lovely Jem Weston's just joined us, so that's nice. Hello, Jem.
Hi, Jem. It's been years since I've seen you. How are you doing?
She doesn't change, Carol. She looks exactly the same whenever you see her. She really does.
Brilliant.
I'm not great at colour work, and I know it's something you do really well. And I am currently doing a Serdar Fair Isle tank top. I'm trying to master Continental. So have you got? And I'm okay. I'm all right. It's a bit bumpy. It's going to need a good blocking. I'm okay with 2 colours. Give me some tips for 3-colour Fair Isle, please.
Well, to be honest, I mean, sort of Fair Isle, probably lots of comments coming up here, but Fair Isle should only be 2 colours. Because your 3 colours, you're starting to make it quite bulky. Yes. I mean, I'm okay with continental knitting if I'm doing a knit row. On a purl row, I just revert back to my old habits. But what you could do, if you sort of think in it in terms of crochet with the yarn in your left hand, and you would have one colour to the front, to near the tip of your finger, and then the second colour nearer to the back of your finger, and then just, or you could have one over your right finger.
Right.
Right. You could have, that might look quite rude. You could have one over one finger and one over the other finger. Though I better not do that. But to be honest, I mean, with the sort of three colours, it's finding a way that works for you. And as you say, that the end result of the fabric sort of works. You get those little clips as well that you can put onto your finger. They've got a little bar and a gate.
Yeah, well,
you can try that as well. But I must admit, I like my two colours, and then my third colour I would embroider on.
Yeah, well, I haven't realised it is only 2 rows at the bottom and 2 rows at the top where there's 3 colours, and I hadn't realised when I started. Those have been the longest 2 rows ever. Oh, and I feel like a beginner because I'm dropping one piece of yarn, picking another one up, and it's.
Could you actually, looking at the pattern, I mean, obviously not seeing the pattern, but could you just sort of Swiss darn the third colour onto it?
I probably could. I mean, I did actually think at one point, thinking, will it actually make a difference if I just skip one of the colours out?
Yeah.
But I wasn't quite brave enough, and I have done them all now. But yeah, it was.
Right.
They nearly had me giving up. So, but I'm determined.
Oh, no, can't do that. No.
I'm determined to master colour work because it really isn't something I'm very good at. It does end a bit bumpy.
I mean, I love doing Fair Isle. I really love doing Fair Isle, but what I've got to watch, if you've got one colour in one hand, one colour in the other hand, sort of knitting it, my crochet brain takes over and my finger starts to move and I pull the stitches too tight, and you're constantly going to your brain, you're not crocheting, you're knitting. You're not crocheting, you're knitting. Come on, do it this way, Carol.
I wonder if that's why I'm doing it then, because I probably do as much crochet as knitting, and I'm wondering if that's why.
Yeah. Well, next time you pick it up, have a look to see if the finger you would normally have your yarn over if you're crocheting, because that's how I realise that's what I'm doing. I'm just sort of pulling the finger up ever so slightly, and it's changing the tension. We're such creatures of habit.
Indeed. So what have you been, apart from you've done the stuff with the holidays France, what other new designs have you been working on through lockdown, or what's ready to go?
Well, the spring green is just about ready to go. Once I've started that, I have been working on a brioche project, which is a life of its own. So it should be,
oh, that looks so squishy.
It's an elongated triangular shape, and you've got the increasing in the centre and the increasing on the out edge as well. So it's your classic elongated shawl, but it's so springy and it's got a life of its own that I've had to use. I've had to use my longest ever circular needle, and even then I can feel it starting to push against the needles. Sorry?
What yarn is that done in?
Oh, this was yarn, is it Dorset? No, I'm trying to think. It was yarn that I had left over from a garment that I sort of knitted for a magazine. And off the top of my head, I can't remember. I think it's, I want to see Dorset buttons, but it's not that at all.
Is there a Dorset sun, or is this? Oh yeah, we could be making this up, couldn't we? I'm sure there's a Dorset sun or something like that for it. If anybody knows, please do comment and say.
I would have a rummage around and sort of find the ball band sort of somewhere, but I can't remember off the top of my head, and it's not going to help much. I know there's a picture of a sheep on the ball band, and it comes in hanks.
So it's
sorry. It's a double knitting wool anyway. It's 100% wool, double knitting, and I'm doing the brioche on a 5mm needle, and it just gives it enough life. I did try it on a 4. It was a bit too solid, and you drape. You don't want a scarf just to. So yeah, so I've been doing that. I've been playing lots of online poker with friends. That's been quite fun as well.
Oh really? Are you any good at poker?
No, not really. My partner's been trying to sort of teach me, sort of in between, you know, when we've been doing it. He's like, right, come on, no, why did you do that? And he keeps questioning why I'm betting and why I'm doing this and not folding. But you know, it's a bit of fun. It means you can actually chat to your friend.
Yeah. Yeah, we've done some online sort of house parties and Zoom. I've done that a couple of times with girlfriends, and we did a small family quiz as well with my mum and dad because they're away in Portugal. So that was nice to see them and have a chat, which was lovely. So
no, it's
yeah, as well as your own designs, whose designs do you knit? Who are your favourite designers? Who do you look to for inspiration and then for your own pleasure?
for my own, I really love Kim Hargreaves' work. I mean, sort of going back to the sort of early sort of Rowan days when I was sort of working for Rowan, I absolutely love Kim Hargreaves' work. So I do tend to sort of dip into her sort of books and have a look and think, oh, I could change the neck on that, or oh, I could just add that sleeve to this body. So I do like dipping into her work. There's a fantastic book. There's a designer up in Orkney. Oh God, my brain has gone completely blank. This lockdown, probably need more coffee. Is it Knitters from the North? She's got gorgeous Faroe Isle accessories, hats, scarves, and the lot. So I like looking at that for inspiration as well. Yeah, yes.
Well, one of our customers' favourite ever project you designed, which was the named now the Betwixtmas 2019, the shawl that we did last Christmas.
Yes.
Oh, such a stunning design.
Oh, thank you. It's simple, but it looks effective. I mean, that's what I love about knitting, and what I do tend to try and do. You try and make things look a lot more complicated than they actually are. So when you're actually doing it, and you get that sort of self-satisfaction of being able to achieve something, it's like, yay, I've done it, I've made it. But I enjoyed working on that design. Yeah, I did enjoy it. I'm glad people liked it.
It's still being made now in the group. Honestly, there are people making it every week, and I think the joy of it is that we made it in a pure alpaca, but you can make it anything.
Well, that's it, because I think I've been lucky enough to go to the Faroe Islands, and I was doing sort of research about the Faroese shawls, and then when you sort of realise that they've got the panel down the middle and then the increasing going on, you think, wow, I can sort of really play about with it, and you can use that sort of central point. And I think the inspiration, because in sort of the Faroe Islands, all the houses are sort of pitched roofs like this, and the mountains just go straight up and sort of straight back down again. So it was trying to take the shapes and the different elements that I came across on the sort of Faroe Islands, and then sort of put them into the shawl. Yes.
Oh no, I loved it because, like you say, it looks the centre panel looks quite complicated, but I remember getting to about row 12 or 13, and I've got it, and it was like, I can do this.
Yeah.
The achievement was incredible.
That's it.
Steph Holt nearly bought it the other day. Oh, Steph, I think you should. Yeah, I will say, Steph, it is a free download on our website, so you can just download it and just stick it in your stash. And it's called and Chic to Chic. Oh, what a great name, Chic to Chic. It was Betwixtmas 2019 shawl, and it's on the Blacksheepwools website.
Yeah, I mean, any thickness of yarn, so you can do it in a really, really fine lace weight, 4-ply, double knitting. I think it was double knitting, wasn't it, the alpaca? Yeah. Quite interesting as a chunky one, though. My goodness, wow.
Oh, do you know what? I've not thought about a chunky one. That would be nice. That'd be a proper with scarf as well. That'd be great.
I know, because if you're following it as is, with it being chunky, it would come up so much bigger, and you would just have this great big blanket to wrap around you. When we're seeing this, I think it's meant to be 25 degrees with you guys today. I mean, we're talking wool, and it's
it's typical Manchester, really. It is. It's grey and cloudy, but it's not cold.
Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently tomorrow's 25. What's it like in Glasgow?
We've got about 15, 16 degrees at the moment, and when I went out from a run in the morning, the moisture, you could feel the humidity in the air, and you just sort of like, okay, I'm going to be hot and sweaty to get to this.
Yeah. I mean, I will. Yeah, the weather has been our saviour, I think, through lockdown. The fact that it has been quite nice for most of it has made a massive difference.
No, it's been great, because I'm in a tenement, but I live across from a park, so it has been good just having that greenery outside, and to say getting up and out in the morning and just sort of filling in my day with things.
Do you ever take your knitting over to the park?
The last time I did that, I was sort of sitting. I'd made my packed lunch. I was sort of sitting doing my knitting. Stopped for lunch, and these two dogs came out of nowhere and just sort of bounded all over me and sort of grabbed my sandwich out of my hand. And I'm just sort of thinking, you dare touch my knitting! You dare touch my knitting! So that kind of sort of put me off for a wee bit. But no, if it's a nice day, I do like just sort of camping out in the park. Yeah, I mean, I've got a studio. It's 100 steps from my front door round to my sort of studio. But because of the sort of lockdown, my friend I share the studio with, she's a painter, so she can't really work from home. So I've sort of given the space up to her. So, but hopefully soon, fingers crossed, I'll be able to get my sewing machines around there. And I keep on thinking, oh, where's that yarn? I haven't checked his studio. So maybe just sneak in an evening, you know.
Yeah, I mean, goodness knows when we will get back with the shop and the workshops and so on. I think we're a long way away from that.
Yeah. It will happen. Everything's gonna sort itself out. I'm a firm believer of keeping positive.
Yeah, no, me and you both. And so what else what's on your needles at the moment then?
Well, at the moment, really, it's the sort of brioche that I've been sort of working on. So I've been doing that. And I've got another pile of yarn just sort of sitting, and I'm thinking, what am I going to do with this?
What's your favourite yarn?
Oh, my favourite yarn? Well, felted tweed, raven felted tweed, obviously. Yes, that's always at the top of the list. And I absolutely, anything woolly and slightly oily. It's just, it's that sort of smell of when you sort of swish it about in water, the way it sort of fluffs up and sort of blooms up. I'm just looking for my big bag of sort of Shetland yarn. I've got cones and all sorts. So yeah.
Do you
so
have stash?
It's not too big. I've been good. I went through a stage where I was just buying so much yarn, and I've been strong with myself and said, no, you're not allowed to buy anything else unless it's work related, which you can justify buying yarn. So I've been good, and I've been trying to sort of work through my stash, but I can feel some purchasing coming on, so it's like, oh, I need more yarn.
Oh, listen, Carol, it has been so lovely to talk to you.
Oh, it's been great. It's been great seeing you, and it's been great seeing all these sort of comments sort of coming up.
Yeah.
I can.
Normality.
I pressed something. Didn't mean to there. Sorry.
Don't worry at all. Well, yeah. Well, hopefully we will see you back in store soon. What patterns should we be looking out for from you over the next sort of month or two? What should we be going to your website? Give us the name of your website. Where can we find you?
My website, it's beatknit.com. So BEATKNIT. I used to play the drums when I was younger. And you go through the whole sort of Jack Kerouac sort of phase, and one of my friends said, "Ha, you're a beat knit, not a beat Nick." And so it's been my sort of online nickname probably since the 90s.
I love it. I really do love it. I think it's a great name.
But so I've got my website, and there's links to Etsy and Instagram, and also the sort of website Ravelry as well. But yes.
Oh, fabulous. Well, listen, thanks so much for giving up some time today, and I hope we do see you soon in store.
Fingers crossed, you'll see me soon in store, and I'll get to see you, and we can squish all the yarn.
It'll be wonderful.
Thanks for calling me, and thanks for having a chat. It's sort of broken up my day.
Very much. You take care. Lots of love.
You too. Take care. Bye.